So, middle of winter. It's not foraging time for us northeasterners. It's gonna snow again. A bit of cabin fever going on. I was talking to Janice earlier, and I was like, "What can we really like do? Like, it's too cold, it's too snowy." And she brought up all these different things for us to study and look at. So, I appreciate you for helping me with my cabin fever. I think that was like Wednesday, but
Oh yeah.
I want to recommend some articles we have in our featured section that uh, Jan posted, and it's all related to Ghost Pipe, and it's all scientific based, and it's a great read for everybody. So I want to keep that in mind that our featured section is going to be full of different information.
Or what we can grab that's reputable
Yeah,
and science based. So, especially where, ghost pipe is concerned because everybody's afraid to study this, huh?
yeah. There seems to be a people are tentative, like they don't want to dive into it. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They don't want to post too much about it. And then there's quite the opposite. There's a lot of people who are just going with the flow and posting everything about it, and maybe not. They didn't post it too much, or I mean, pay attention to what they're posting too much, and they're posting things that might not be true. So there's a lot of like fact checking going on with Ghost Pipe, and naturally it has always been a plant that people quarrel over, right? Even goes back to the Native Americans, helping them solve quarrels, helping them communicate with different tribes and chilling out. So it's funny that quarreling still is tied to it to this day on the internet in 2025. I just think it's like a whole new different version. What do you think? Like, people really get into this. They really argue about it hard. I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not even.
I've said this a lot. It's because the ghost pipe monotropa uniform is shrouded and tucked in a closet of mysticism. People want to believe that you need to tincture in the field or else it's going to magically lose its powers. There's one school. Another school is don't harvest it because it's endangered, which we all know that's not true. It's not protected or anything. Is it scarce in some states? And is it listed as possible? Yeah, in states it doesn't grow prolifically. Colorado,
Yeah, like on the border of where it stops growing.
California. Yeah, things like that. So, and then there's the harvesting techniques.
Yeah,
Sustainability.
there's a bunch of different harvesting techniques.
Yeah, and people want to argue about all of that. But what I don't see, okay, is any learned degree, doctors in psychology, people that have licenses,
Yeah,
really taking the bull by the horns here and doing it. And why is that? Because they're scared of it. And to be talking about it is kind of like, what Paul Stanley says about when people start asking him about psilocybins, he just shuts right up. Why? Because everybody's afraid of the feds and getting arrested and going to jail and propagating, some type of illicitness to this drug when it's not illicit at all.
yeah, it's
And so, hopefully somebody like me coming online, taking a lot of heat in a lot of forums, we all know I've got nothing but time sometimes in the wintertime.
sometimes.
Because, I can't really forage right now, but I'm doing a lot of other things. But we all know that I'm pissing a lot of people off. But the ones I see getting more pissed are vendors. Vendors that either propagate a whole nother thing, either just mushrooms and just herbal, but they don't want to touch ghost pipe. And, they've got clients to answer to. If you're telling somebody that wild lettuce, tinctured wild lettuce, is a more effective pain reliever and the strongest one available in nature, you are lying to your clients because it isn't. Okay? Just like saying you could smoke regular bluegrass that grows on your lawn or whatever grass you got that grows on your lawn and you're going to get high. Grass, marijuana,
Yeah.
do you see the issue there? So I think a vendor, instead of remembering why we're in this business, which is to, teach people about, natural herbal supplements, mushrooms, anything that's available in nature, whether it's tree bark, whatever, okay? That's really what a healer does. And me as a professional fine organic gardener, we talked about before, I bring in community. So I think sometimes that bends a vendor's nose. They automatically,
Yeah.
their ego, it's because of their ego.
Yeah,
Their
and like
ego gets in the way, and they forget why they do this. And if I don't know about something, okay, just because I picked on wild lettuce, I'll say wild lettuce. Of course I know about it, but if somebody's using wild lettuce in a manner that may be new to me, I want to know about it. I'm not going to come at somebody and say, "Oh, you're an idiot. You're an ass. You don't know what you're doing."
yeah.
Just to protect my ego and my product. I don't want to do that. When you do this, when you get into this, as I've said so many times, it's a calling to work with nature and to manipulate it with Mother Nature, God, Allah, whoever you want to call God, themselves, in order for another human being who's hurt, who's in pain, who really is hurt even more by Western pharmacology and the addictions that come with it. It's a calling to want to reach out and help someone. I can't let my ego get in the way.
Yeah.
Ever. Because it's not about me. It's never about me. The only thing that's about me is my intuition, my schooling, and my education, my family background, and gene pool, and being able to know that I can go out and grab something, and I can take it back home, and I can study it backwards and forwards, spore prints, whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
To find out if it benefits someone. And so that's my thing. I think people's egos are way in the way, and I think that there are a lot of paid bots that are on Facebook now. And, we all talked about the influx, how all these people came in, from other countries, using 3 names all the time, and gleaning information so that they can actually sound like somebody that's reputable in another form where they literally just copy and paste and put somebody else's thing on there. It's crazy sometimes. So due diligence is vital, and being able to talk to any vendor and things like that. But if a vendor's got their ego up, that's where I see it is, Eddie. What about you? Do you feel it's
I want to go through this again too, since it's been a while. If you're new to buying herbal remedies, especially ghost pipe, if you're gonna buy a ghost pipe from somebody, what are some questions that you should ask that vendor? I'll start with one. You should ask them how they harvest it. How are you harvesting that? And see how they respond. That is one question that.
But when you ask the question, you got to know how it's harvested, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Sometimes
you don't know. You have to know that there's an option in order to.
Yeah. So how? All right. So if you're talking to somebody with zero knowledge, I'm saying somebody that has done their research. You know what I mean?
Okay. Got it.
So somebody's done their research. They realize that it's a root inclusive plant. When you harvest it, the medicinal value is mostly in the root. So you want that in your tincture. So they know that, okay? And they message somebody about harvesting, and that person says, "Well, I only harvest 1/3." Right? That's going to be the wrong answer. So
Yeah,
that's
harvest 1/3 of the cluster
or one
or
fifth. Like
whatever.
that's
Yeah,
not going to
because
give you.
that right. As
So
soon as somebody tells you
a big
that they only
argument came
harvest,
from that harvesting. So all these different
yeah,
vendors started even asking me, and I was, I was just telling the truth, and then it's a root inclusive plant, blah blah blah, and then that's what they would just tell people. So like, I'm like, hold on, like, are you just are you just like seeding information from me just because you don't want to? Maybe you messed up. Maybe, remember, cut the flower or pull the root. The biggest argument in ghost pipe history last year. That was number one.
again, it's egos
And it's because of
because
YouTube videos where people were cutting them, and then
yeah, yeah,
it went viral. And I'm not gonna say anybody's name, but dude, the video's everywhere, and it's just like, man,
yeah,
that's what
and
it
then there's
is.
like then there's the ego where you know don't harvest the third. Come on.
Yeah, and
If a vendor tells you that they only harvest
well, it
a
makes sense. So
percentage of a root clutch,
well, I don't want to be.
well, no,
I don't want to
it,
beat up too
well,
many people, but like it does make sense to leave sunflowers behind, like in certain times. Like there's ways you can harvest. We did a whole video on this, so I don't want to get too far into it, but like
no, but listen, what we're
um
talking about, we opened up the can of worms. Now we're going to talk about
yeah,
it.
I know,
Okay,
but
so if a vendor is telling you, oh, I only harvest a third, they don't know anything about that life cycle of that plant.
they're still not telling you
Now,
how they
think about
harvested
that
it
for a
either.
second.
So
Now, I know, but listen, they're just saying that because it sounds PC. It sounds politically correct. That's why. Because if you understand the whole life cycle of the plant, you know that makes no effing difference. None whatsoever. It is going to flower 4 to 6 cycles during its season.
mm-hmm.
And I always tell people, pull up a whole root clutch. Go ahead, do it once. Maybe listen. I don't want 50 million people out there pulling all these root clutches. That goes against why I'm telling you to pull it up.
Yeah, there's almost like
Sustainability. Yes, sustainability. You have to understand everything that you're tincturing. If you don't even know the simple life cycle or how many times that this will flower during the season, to understand that cutting a third makes no difference. It's when you cut them. It's how they look to know if that root clutch is starting to go night for the winter and leave that entire clutch alone. And you never take all of it because you're only going to go around in like a circle and you're only going to pick the most potent ones. You're going to leave the other ones to go to be pollinated, to go to seed, to do whatever. But everybody has to learn what they're tincturing before they even think about selling them. Because they'll tell me right away that vendor, they found out their harvesting techniques online probably. They don't really know that much about it.
yeah,
And they're just doing what everybody else does. Hello. That's how come I get my ass kicked in these forums all the time. Because my whole stance on it is once you get to know it, once you learn it, and by the way, do it once, take pictures, take video, because I really can't, advocate doing it more than once. But that is part of getting vital practical knowledge out in the field. Vital. Okay? But when you know it, you got it down, you feel more confident, and that's how come I'm so confident when people start to kick my ass with these forums about, self-sustainability, because harvesting it correctly is self-sustainability, and it's not just the plant that's going to benefit from it. So are the mushrooms, the mycelium, and so are the trees, because the trees' roots are going to grow longer and farther, stronger. That means you're going to have even more ghost pipe in that area.
yeah, the ghost
Seasons.
The few that I've been going to for past 5-6 years and different new ones, like It seems like the ones I first ever went to are doing better. Like they're like the one when where we filmed in that beach forest that I go to, that area. That
Yeah,
dude, that is like
that
dude, it's
is
like the Ghost Pipe
propagation
City, man.
self-sustainability.
It
It's
is like
perfect.
Ghost Pipe City. I go there every year and just, get some there. But like it's also like um very like another question to ask, a vendor is what kind of solvent did you use, or
Yeah,
alcohol
that's
was
important.
other term, but solvent
Yeah,
is extremely
that's vital.
important. So
Yeah.
that is like I would say solvent is either the first or tied for first or small second in the number one quarrel solvent. It's, people fight
Well,
over
solve
that.
it because again, egos get in the way.
People fight
Because
over it.
people want to fight over it. They want to do economical for them, which is not respecting this plant's potential medicinal power. You're wasting it. So you did all that harvesting, all that gathering, whether you tincture it in the field or not, that's a whole nother topic. Um, you know, people, and then they go ahead and they sell it. So they don't know about it. They're using lower proof solvents, which isn't getting all the medicinal value. And in turn, whoever they're selling it to, okay, is going to be taking massive amounts in order to feel that medicinal, which they're not going to feel anyways because it works on your nervous system. It's a neuron. So, you find people taking a lot more that way.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's tinctured appropriately, now mind you, everybody talks about, these toxins that are in it. And again, everything in moderation. No one's ever died from it. If you're drinking a whole bottle, you can expect to be sick for a couple days. But you will come out of it. There's been no recorded deaths about it. There's been some recorded illnesses of people overindulging, even as far back as Socrates. Okay, you'll find anecdotal evidence online if you do a quick Google search.
Yeah, there's
Where
also
people
like a bunch
were
of
out of
rumors.
it.
There's a bunch of wives' tales too. Like I've heard, like one person, like reported like in this crazy tale on Reddit that he ate like 2 ounces, like as much as he
But
could. It's like what, and
you
like
have to
he's
take
like
it
did
with
it on
a grain
purpose,
of salt.
and he
Yeah,
said
grain of salt.
he said he like hung out by a tree for like hours and then like felt nauseous and then uh, he just fished. I believe he went fishing and just camped all night and woke up feeling like a little groggy. So that's it. That's like that's not
I can tell
factual
you.
either. That's like another ghost
No,
tale right
no,
there.
it
But
isn't.
like
It is.
but I
But
bet you somebody really did that. And then like the other ghost tales are about people smoking it. We were talking about that too. Like people who smoke dried ghost pipe flower and they experience the effects as well. Like I'm not gonna try it. And like we were discussing like you don't recommend smoking ghost pipe, right? I don't. I personally don't recommend
no,
that.
listen. You can smoke, drive.
Yeah,
That ghost pipe. And people
I
have
never
been.
have, and I don't
Okay.
think I have interest into it.
However, for me, I like to have control, and I like to have what the strongest is, because you know me, I only deal with heavy medicinals. It's by taking anything by tincture. It's
Yeah.
always going to be way more potent than anything else.
Yeah, it's
And
strange. Like I wouldn't see the. I mean, I guess like I don't know. Like you could make tobacco with it or mix it into a blend. Maybe it would add like some small flavor.
I don't think I ever would. It's the nebulizers that I have the issue with people putting tinctures in nebulizers.
I don't even know
Because
about that.
you don't do that. Anybody
Oh
listening,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
ever do that. You have, mucosal membranes, you have the linings over your lungs that are permeable, and you could be doing more damage than not. Colloidal silver being a big one. That's already a heavy metal. It's a toxin. Why the hell are people nebulizing that? I just don't get it. Because, it's the insanity of
Yeah.
the wild, wild west of herbal supplements. they see something for 3 seconds on social media and they think it's okay, even though the 50 million people that are saying, oh, yeah, it's great, it's great, they don't even live here. They're in Africa, they're in, the Middle East, and they're paid bots trying to elicit a conversation because guess what? They get money off of selling that product. So, that's a big one for me. But anyways, so let's park Ghost Pipe to the side. Now,
I don't know. We just got a comment. About Ghost Pipe.
Oh, we did. I gotta look now. What's the comment?
It says it's from Sarah.
Oh, here it is.
There you
Sarah,
go.
yeah. My friend said he had Ghost Pipe years ago and said he had hallucinations. Said it was so powerful and messed him up. Sarah, he probably took a lot of it. And I don't know if he made it himself. But I do notice that a lot of people, some vendors online, are putting constituents in Ghost Pipe that got no business being in them. Like, everything from marijuana to amanitas. I've seen it, okay? And I recently saw on our Facebook, it's an herbalist, by the way, his whole page, where he did a post on Ghost Pipe within the last 2 days. He closed the comments so nobody could comment on it. And he was even saying that Ghost Pipe will turn from purple to brown. Where's my bullshit button?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but of course he conveniently closed the comments, so that means his ego is getting in the way because he's putting something in it that's making it turn colors. But
yeah, that was happening. So people do that.
Yeah, Sarah said they do, and Sarah said that he didn't make it.
Yeah, it's hard
so
to.
Chances are it was somebody that put something in it because just to give you from my personal experience, and I did this, and I did this. Of course, we test our products, and we do that with human testing, usually our own bodies. So I know what the effects of taking too much Ghost Pipe is.
Yeah, and, I've actually taken too much through eating too much of it, and that's my personal favorite way to actually do Ghost Pipe is to eat it raw and ingest it. That's my favorite way.
Yeah,
so
the best way that I
all natural.
Yeah, for taking too much of the tincture, for me, because I'll do 3 to 5 grams. That's it.
Yeah, like if you want to compare like tincture, how much is too much? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, everybody's body is unique and individual. Okay, just like our pain threshold is. So everyone is going to react differently at different rates. My best advice for me, based on my own experience now, is you don't go over 10 drops. No way. No way.
There's no need to,
10 drops is usually the magic number to pop somebody out of a bad LSD trip instantly.
The other thing with Ghost Pipe is, like, you hit a threshold, so, like, you can't just keep doing more and getting higher ceiling. Like, you really cop out pretty soon. So, like, there's no reason to push it. So, like...
No, because it works.
It's not like drinking alcohol where if you drink 3 beers and then you drink 10 beers and then you drink 15, the BAC, like you don't just keep getting more and more. So, like, once you get the mild sedative effect, like, that's as far as you're going to get it. But, like, people hallucinating, if you push it, you will have lucid dreams for sure. You won't have any out-of-body experiences. There's Native American tales of they would use it to find their spirit animal, and they use it for, like, deep, meditating and stuff like that.
Yeah, but think about it. American Indians were foragers.
Mm-hmm.
Hunters and foragers, okay?
Absolutely.
They were like a lot of people that use Ghost Pipe for anxiety.
Yeah.
20 lanes going 90 miles an hour all the time. In order to center, Ghost Pipe is what they use.
Yeah.
Now does that make sense?
And ghost pipe was used in all the Revolutionary Wars and all that, like everything. Like it has a
All of it. All of it.
huge history. And it was before penicillin, so like when penicillin came out, it kind of, I guess,
Yeah.
stole the show.
Listen,
So like,
Sarah says how much is too much.
yeah, that's what we were just
Okay.
talking about. Yep.
The only thing that I can comment on is the tinctures that I forge and I make.
Yeah.
I know what, and we all know how great my tinctures are. So I would never, for me, I don't go past 5 drops every 4 to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's fair.
my pain threshold is really high. And, people have to remember, this isn't a traditional pain med. You're not going to feel woo-hoo in the head in order to know it's working. You just have to sit still and wait 10 to 20 minutes and just realize that whatever you cared about before, is it still the same intensity, whether it's anxiety or whether it's musculoskeletal pain or nerve pain? Is it at the same intensity as it was 10 minutes ago?
Mm-hmm.
If it is, then you add a drop. Then you wait another 10 or 20 minutes. And if it's still at that same intensity, add another one. That's the thing with this. You are the one that's in control. No one is going to tell you, like a Western med does or a Western doc does, okay, this is going to happen. You can't drive, you can't operate heavy machinery, you can't take this much, because we're used to milligrams, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is you take it as needed, right? You don't need it all the time. You don't need it. You don't need it. It doesn't. It's not something that needs to like stay in your system. You got to work into it. You just do it as needed. Like I use it like once or twice a month, if that. Like sometimes more, sometimes less. Stress relief. So
Matt,
just simple things.
Matt's chimed in. I have ghost pipe growing in my local area, and I was planning on tincturing it myself for my combat. Matt, I love this. Thank you for your service, Matt, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
For his combat PTSD and anxiety. I heard about 5 months ago, and I think it'll be very useful if harvested on my own. What would I use? You use your hands. That's it. They're really easy to pull up.
I think he might talk about the solvent. Maybe what do I use?
Yeah, you're gonna try to get as close to 190 as you can, Matt. And I've got all kinds of information on this site here that tells you, the tincture process as well as past episodes of our webcast. But you don't need to tincture this in the field, number one. So don't bring liquor out in the field with you. That's just crazy. It's a perennial plant. And when you harvest just the right types, and we'll go into it on another episode too for you, or you can, just send a message on the board here, and, I'll go ahead and write it out for you.
It's very simple to harvest. So like, you can even take a
like
picture of it. You can even take a picture of it this year, post it on our website, or send it to me or Janice. We'd like you to post it on the page so everybody can see it. But all you gotta do is post a picture or a video, and we'll tell you which ones. Like that's the easiest way, I think, as far as like.
Matt, you don't dehydrate them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to
dehydrate it at all. You take it home. You put it in a cool water bath, just to, treat it like it's a fresh rose that you cut on a hot summer day, okay? Are you going to want to leave it in a hot car like you would a gallon of milk on a hot July day? No, it's going to go bad. So you want to get it home in a reasonable amount of time. Give it a cool water bath just to remove any of the debris that was either in your harvesting basket or from the ground, pine needles being the big one, and all that stuff. And then you're going to cut it in pieces so that you increase the surface area, because you'll find out if you try to break a good ghost pipe with your hand, it's almost impossible. You got to get a point of egress, because that stem is very sturdy.
It has a lot of tensile strength, so you can really pull on it. But like cutting, it's very soft. It's hard to explain.
It is, and even when you're chewing it, if you eat a fresh one, you'll chew all the juice out of the center of it before you even would start breaking down the
Yeah.
outside. It's crazy. But you do that to increase surface area to allow the solvent to get at more areas inside that stem and
Yeah.
inside the
I
plant. Okay,
actually
if that makes sense.
I have a
And
few
you
dried ghost pipe on me right now. Actually, here you go. This is pretty cool.
look at
Let's
that.
see here. Hold on. So see how that flower head is pointed down, right? Can you see that?
Well, it's taking a second for your video. There it goes. All right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. This is a dried one. I found it what in November or something, just hanging out.
I think it's cool that you got it with its head down and it was desiccated.
Yeah, I don't know.
See,
It's weird. See, this one,
listen.
all the other ones are straight up. So
Yeah, but you see how thin and how petite that one is?
I think this thing shrunk up and just melted.
Yeah, it probably happened at the end of the season
Yeah, it was a
or
pump
the
fake.
very beginning where it was competing. Yeah, there's one that we'll normally see.
Yeah, Sarah said she dried some. That's great because like, dude, these dried ones, these are the ones I've been like hanging on to show people. But the other ones make great tea. So when you make the tea,
Yeah.
chop them up real fine and throw them in a tea bag. And I would,
Yeah, Sarah, that's the instance that I said you can dry them.
Yeah.
What I meant was telling Matt, addressing, you don't dry them in order to make a tincture, but you can take those expired ghost pipes, you can put them in teas, you can do all kinds of stuff, just like I told you, so you're good.
yeah.
How
So
was it, Sarah? She said she did tea once so far. How was the tea?
yeah, Matt,
Okay.
If they're dry, they can be used for teas and stuff like later in the season. But you can't make tincture with it. It'll be super weak. So you want the fresh flower, like right when it blooms. It'll have a flower head that like points down. It almost looks like a cocktail shrimp or something. And those are the ones you use for tincture. You want the good ones, and then like later in the season, these dried ones are good for teas and
Head to the
things like that.
There's that saying too with Monotropa. Head to the sky, no bueno. Head to the terra, put it in tincture.
Is that you're saying or something?
Yeah, when the head faces the ground is where you want it,
Yeah.
where you want to harvest it. Because it'll have the most medicinal value, but you can tell, and there may be some with their heads tipped up that are still all white.
Yeah, if it
But
if
if you
it
look
just
at the
went up,
root,
like you can tell, like if the root still
yeah,
has,
if you look towards the root, if it's got the hues of purple above
you can still
brown,
harvest
that's
it.
still good enough to tincture. I collect that and tincture it, no problem. It means it's already gone through the pollination, but yet you can tell it goes through the pollination by the little bruises around the petals around the seed pods. But yeah, so and Sarah said it was good. She used it to sleep. See, I love it, Sarah. I love that.
Yeah, the tea's
I love
mild.
that you're learning. I really do. I listen. The one reason why we do this is because we want to teach people to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no need, if you can tincture it appropriately, and if you know about the plant, and you're getting good resources to find out about it, you're doing stuff on your own as well, and you're out there foraging, it's a sense of empowerment to
Dude,
be
it's
able
awesome.
to make your own medicine. And that's what the goal is. I love having clients, and I don't mind you guys buying tincture from me, but I hope that you do, for two reasons. One, because you want to get a good quality so that you understand you have a comparison. Okay, that's number one. And two, there are some people that can't forage physically. They just can't get out there and do it. And I don't want to buy $20 bottles of tincture made with 80 or 100 proof. That's crazy because it's just going to make them sicker because of their liver. Their liver's going to go crazy because of all the salicylic acid that they have to take. But yeah. Sarah says she's Native American and loves being able to use nature like this.
Oh yeah.
Sarah, your ancestors are loving you right now. Because I actually went down to North Carolina, the Cherokees, Cherokee Nation, and for a weekend to learn what they know about it. That was a few years back.
That sounds fun.
It really really was.
I would
It
love
was a
that.
lot of fun.
They do that
Yeah.
often, or is that just like a one-time thing?
No, well, for me, I guess it kind of. I don't think it's a one-time thing. You know, I think they do it if you ask. You know, it's just how you gonna ask. Travel to the Smokies, go to Cherokee Nation, find out the public events that they have going on, and make your introductions. That's the best I can tell you. But you can learn a lot that way. At least that's the way that I do things.
People don't give away their ghost pipe secrets too much, man. They they like to keep
Yeah, well, it
they
shouldn't
like
be
to
a
keep them.
secret. Marijuana's not a secret. Everybody knows what marijuana does.
Yeah, I know.
Why should the most powerful pain med that is full spectrum for psychological and physiological and nerve pain, why should that be kept under wraps? Well,
I don't know.
maybe
Wonder.
because
There's a lot of bad reasons, and a lot of conspiracies. I would say ghost pipes conspiracies about why.
yeah.
But it's starting.
Well,
The truth is coming out, and people are starting to, not shy away from this anymore. So good for everybody like that's open to natural remedies and learning how to make it yourself. Like ghost pipe's probably the most fun thing to make too because it turns dark purple, so you feel like
immediately.
So
Immediately.
it's pretty cool. Like you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, like I made that. Like that's cool. And you shake it a bunch. You shake it daily, just to rough it up and get it mixed up. And that it helps you release some stress too when you shake your jars.
It will. It will. And if you pick the right ghost pipes when you're harvesting, it doesn't take 4 to 6 hours for your solution, your menstruum, to turn a indigo hue.
Oh yeah.
It pretty much happens.
I recommend a lot of
when you're
shaking
doing
right
it.
when you make it. Like shake the hell out of it the first few weeks, like real good, and then
Yeah, but mine have indigo hues in it within an hour. Of
oh
me
yeah,
putting
within
the
a couple
190 on it.
hours.
I mean,
Within a couple
yeah.
hours, you should know you made it right. Shouldn't
Yeah.
be clear.
Well, good, Sarah. I'm glad that you used the dried ghost pipe and it's helping you sleep. I'm awful glad you are. Now, she also asked about Chaga. Chaga.
Yeah, the
My
winter
my
fart. That's the only
grandson.
thing I can look for, and I've been looking for it, and I can't find it.
Yeah, my grandson Henry. This is how he pronounces it. Chaga. Chaga, Granny. Chaga. And I always respond with a Chewbacca.
Oh, wow.
Like Star Wars. Of course he has no clue what that is. But Chaga, okay, so Sarah, this is a good question because I know where you live. And I know that area, you're not going to have a lot of high altitude mountains, but you will if you cruise over to Camden. The higher up you go, the more apt you're going to be, the more successful you'll be at finding one and definitely possibly more in the same area. Okay? Chaga is a slow-growing mushroom. It takes 20 years or more to get so big that you can actually see it by eye and say, oh yeah, that's Chaga. Because a lot of people mistake it for burls.
Yeah, that's what I think I
Burls-
found. That's what I found like
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah, burls are pretty spherical. You know what I mean? They're shaped like a circle usually. Okay, and they're all kind of bumpy. But here's the thing with Chaga, birch. You're gonna harvest it only from birch. Okay, and it's only gonna grow on birch. Okay, silver birch. The white birch you see. I've seen it on white. But predominantly always birch. And listen, here's a time for me to say a little story, a little family Jan story. You ready? We all know that the other half of me is Quebecois, French Canadian. Okay, and every Easter in Canadian culture, which is steeped in Catholicism, by the way, French Canadians are. There is a ritual where you go and get what's called Easter water. Okay? That water, a lot of times, is, it's always families, blessed by the town priest, number one, people bring it home because they say it has healing properties. In our family, a lot of the water that we have blessed is from a birch. And guess what? Birch water does have medicinal properties. Okay? So, imagine now chaga. Chaga grows on birch. That's where it's getting its water. You know, so it's good. It's got great medicinal properties. Harvesting it can be a real pain in the ass. Huh,
I don't know yet. I haven't harvested. I've been looking for it. Sarah says she knows of 4 places that have it, and she's foraged it before. How hard is it to cut down? I mean, it looks like just like as hard as the tree, right? It's like the same. It's like wood, right?
It's like trying to top a piece of rock.
Is it harder than is it harder than the actual tree? You think?
Yeah, I think so. Because it takes so long to grow and the network and things like that.
I guess so.
And things are stronger when they're together, right?
Oh yeah.
So a hatchet, I've seen people use. You even have to use sometimes a hammer on your hatchet just to get it to cut through. You know, but I always am when I'm in the woods and I know that I'm going for chaga or it's chaga season, I always have a machete. And a machete seems to do the trick for me, and so does my gardening shears if I want to wrench a little bit more off of there, you know. And when you harvest it, you're going to know for sure it's a chaga. Number one, you're going to make sure it's on a birch, right?
Yeah.
Number two, when you break over that black warty crust that's on the outside of it, you're going to notice the inside of it is like a flaming orange, like a rusty reddish orange. Okay, burls are not going to be that color on the inside. See?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
And you said to bring what, a ladder with you, like a small stool, because like the one I was questioning, I couldn't. I just didn't have surface or nothing, but it was very high up in a tree. I was like, I can't tell. I was trying to take a picture, I was trying to zoom in, but it wasn't worth going back and getting a ladder and climbing up there. Wasn't that dedicated.
They have those little collapsible fire escape ladders that people actually bring on the trail with them.
It's deep in the woods too. I was like, dude, I'm not walking all the way back out. But I did pinpoint it. I saved it. I have it. So like at someday I'll climb the tree maybe.
Yeah, Sarah says sometimes it comes out pretty easy, but other times it's much harder. Nice big whack. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
I have this jungle machete out there with me because I can give that a bunch of good whacks, and I'm gonna get a bunch of chaga off of that main piece.
Is it gonna come off as like a big chunk, or is it like, or are you working that thing?
I work that thing. Usually I'll bring material out there with me, like an old twin sheet. I'll put it on the ground, and I just start whacking, and the pieces all get collected in the sheet.
Yeah.
You know, and I always try to leave some. Always. Why? Because chaga's a slow grower. Now I've got it in my GPS. I pinned it. I know where I can get it next season. And that is, I'm propagating, I'm helping, and I'm creating a sustainable harvest right there. I'm not going to take the whole thing. Now, sometimes birch trees are so rotted out, and you get this big piece of chaga that's like right on the edge of where it's already broken, and you can take the whole thing, okay? And it's easy, all right? You don't have to leave it there because it already came off. You know, it wasn't your fault. It just was. But it's up to everybody's individual discretion. Now, harvest as much as you want in anything.
Yeah.
Provided that you know how to preserve it. Don't waste it, you know. But a lot of people just put it in coffee grinders. Those little coffee grinder things, and they fire it up, and then they put it in coffees. They brew it as coffee.
Yeah.
They put it in teas and things like that. Sarah, Sarah says she's got one a mile down the road, but it's alongside the road. It doesn't matter if it's alongside the road. Go get it.
Go get your ladder.
Have somebody
Matt says he harvests it too, currently in Minnesota. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
see, now I got to get on it. I'm the odd man out. Sarah, Matt, you, uh,
Yeah, but okay,
everybody's whacking chaga except for me. The one I found or potentially found was like 20 feet up this birch tree. So I don't
so
know.
I talked about the medicinal qualities
Got to
of
get back out
birch.
there after the snowstorm.
Yeah, I mentioned the medicinal qualities of the water that's contained in birch, right? Okay, and
Yeah.
I did that for a reason because I'm going to segue into this. You
All
see
right,
how
here we go.
unsmooth? That was so unsmooth to me. It really was. Um, there are arguments now that traditionally you only harvest chaga in the wintertime to get the optimal medicinal values. Okay, and last year and the year before, I started hearing a lot of grumbling within our community saying, well, you know what? We really don't have scientific evidence of that, and we should be able to harvest this because chaga became the buzz. Remember a couple years ago? So you get a lot of people that want to
It
sell
happens every
chaga,
year.
and
Everybody talks about it again, and then I'm like, damn,
yeah,
dude, why don't like I kind of look for it, but like I'm more into harvesting like ghost pipe and turkey tail, stuff like that, and then chaga just never. I don't know. I just never really. It was one of those things like it's always in the back of my mind, but I'm never looking up. That's where you look for. I'm always looking down, like at Chicken of the Woods and Chanterelle, like all that kind of stuff, and I'm so it's just
well,
that's
chaga,
is
chaga got, in my opinion, for somebody that's been doing this a long time, I think that because of that buzz that went on with chaga for the last 5 years, that it runs a chance of being over harvested. Okay,
it might.
because it's such a slow grower. Number one, number two, you need a birch tree. Okay, and there's not a lot of places where if you find birch trees out in a forest, okay, in a boreal forest, all right, it's going to be in an open area. At the time that thing started to grow, it was an open area because birch need all that sunlight and all that room. They don't
Mm-hmm.
compete with spruce and pine and stuff like
Yep.
that. And the other they don't like that. So when you see birch out on hiking trails and stuff like that of old forests, they're diseased or there's very few of them, and the ones that are there aren't really that healthy. Which is a good thing because eventually it's going to end up getting chaga on it at some point or another. Woody ear, all kinds of stuff on it. I love that turkey tail too. But you'll notice that there's not a lot of birch trees out in these boreal forests. Why?
No,
Because the growth, you got other things going on now.
there's a
So
lot
that's
in
why
Pennsylvania though, because our back in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, they like cut 93% of the forest down in PA to build all the cities and stuff that we have, or early 1800s. But anyways, it gave like a whole new like conservation effort back then for PA to grow all their state parks back. So all of our state parks are old logging facilities and furnaces and whatnot. So like our forests, there's very little old forests. So all the new forest is like there's a lot of beech trees, a lot of birch trees. Once you the only old forest around my area is in wetlands because it wasn't worth going down there and getting all the swamp oak and stuff out. So they stayed. I think there's like a record swamp oak. It's like 28 feet or 30 feet in diameter. It's huge. So that's kind of
oh my
cool. But
goodness,
the whole forest would have been that big. So when you get to New York,
right?
when you get to the state of New York, they were like, "You're not cutting ours down." So literally, when you cross into the border of New York, it's like the forest changes overnight, and then you get back into the old pine and old hickory trees, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, and I don't know, it's just fun history. Like William Penn's like deeply rooted back here. It's cool. But
For me, it was always birch trees when I hike. You know how when you hike sometimes you'll come across birch paper rolls?
yeah, yeah, all
Birch
the
paper
time.
roll. Okay, yeah. So my Uncle Henry told me a long time ago, or it might have been my grandfather, but my Uncle Henry definitely drove it home. presents itself in front of your path, that's a letter from someone in heaven.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so don't step on it. Pick it up, take it home. It's good vibes. It's good energy. That's what I do. I can never go buy a birch paper and not
That's
pick
cool.
one up.
I don't think I'm going to be able to either. That's pretty sweet.
And think about it. When you're out there and you're solo and you're hiking, you're in your own head, you're in your thoughts.
It's like a little
You know,
guardian there for you.
yes, there's your little guardian right there. There's a
That's
little
cool.
yeah,
That's a nice little hiking
your
tip.
little forest angel. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's the deal with Chaga. And Sarah, if you need a leg up to get 20 feet up, I'll be more than happy to come down and help you.
Yeah, dude.
She says it's 20 feet up a tree. I think we can get a human chain going on that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really quick with a collapsible ladder with a rope. I'm really good at that because I used to install cable TV back in the day.
That's funny.
So, coming from an arborist family and stuff like that, yeah, I'm not afraid of trees. We just have to put up some cones. But yeah, Chaga's a good thing, and Chaga is going to be plentiful out there, just like turkey tail.
Yeah, I got to put some time
and
into
it's
it.
going to be way easier to see this time of year.
I know. It's just I keep making excuses.
Yeah, because there's nothing has leaves on it. So if you see a chaga, you're going to be able to see that real easy. It's way easier to spot in the wintertime. But going back to the water thing and why you harvest it in the wintertime, because in the spring, things get warmer, right? More sugars are released, leaf production, things like that. That means that chaga is not getting all of that nice medicinal water. They're not getting the nutrient, content that it needs to from that birch tree. Whereas in the wintertime, it is. It's getting it. Because it's not competing for anything. So, it's, I'm sure there's dormancy that's involved and all that kind of stuff.
So when you harvest it from the tree, like, how long is that going to be good just sitting in it on your table? Like, is this something that you just leave out, or you got to preserve it correctly? Like, I mean, right? What do you grind it up right away and seal it real good, or what's your advice? What's everyone's advice? What should I do?
Usually do
What should I do?
Just lay it out. Yeah, I lay it out on tea towels, and go ahead and grind it. Put it in your jars. You can vacuum seal it. That'll help preserve it. And there's silica packets that you can buy online if you want to put it in a jar and you don't have a way to vacuum seal that jar.
Yeah.
If you don't have one of those food saver attachments, you can get silica packets. Like when you buy a new pair of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Those things. And you put those in the jars with it, and it'll absorb any water. But don't forget, this is a really dry mushroom.
Yeah, especially.
Anyways. Yeah, but I like it to be like really dry, so that it's easier on a coffee grinder, because those things will chew up a coffee grinder.
Yeah.
Don't use a food processor or whatever you do, because you're going to ruin your food processor.
Yeah, I've ruined one blender with stone root. You ever work with that plant? Remember we were talking about that like way back ago?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
very, 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 very hard plant to work with. The root is like, just like the like stone.
Yeah.
And it was a tough tincture to make. I had to really take a hammer to it, and literally.
Yeah, some of them are hard, and chaga is right up there. That's the hardest one, I think, of the mushroom medicinals, because even the conchs. Well, no, those are kind of hard too. Those red belted polypores and things like that. But remember how I told you the easiest way to break up chaga is to prison break it. The easiest way, stick it in a clean pillowcase and just start smashing it, either with a hammer or on a concrete sidewalk, something. uses a coffee grinder and puts the big pieces in brown paper bags. Good job, Sarah.
Cool.
Um,
I'll remember that.
Yeah, listen, you got to remember, calcium oxalates are what the real issue is and what makes kidney stones. Okay? So with that in mind, the people that are using chaga, are they using it with their coffees? Are they using it with their caffeinated products and their teas? Chances are that's a big YEF.
Got a point there.
Oxalates, yeah, you can't have caffeine. That's a contributor too. So if you know how kidney stones form in the body, and you understand that you're supposed to be on a certain diet, you have to do the research for the mushroom. Because if chaga is going to bother you, then how are you taking it? You know, are you using it as a tincture? You know, tincture is the best way to do it. You know, and that way you're not going to have as many problems. And if you have kidney disease, that's something for you to talk with your nephrologist about, because everybody's individual and unique there. Yeah, see, Sarah, that's a prison way. Old towel and a hammer and a concrete garage floor. That's the way to do it. That's a prison way to do it. I laugh so hard about that, but it's so true, isn't it, Eddie?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I had a huge chunk of quartz one time I had harvested. That's actually when I stumbled upon Ghost Pipe one, the first time we were looking for quartz rock. Anyways, found this huge piece, and it was huge, heavy, and I smashed a bunch. And that's how I had to do it. And let me tell you, quartz rock is one of the hardest things I ever had to break open. And it was like
brutal.
It was like glass. Like I couldn't even. It did not work out like I thought it would. But I ended up with some cool pieces. So that was fun.
I think as a forager, I think we're naturally drawn because we're always looking at things on the ground, and we'll notice if the rock looks different or things like that. Because I'll tell you, this winter in some of my downtime,
Yeah.
I've been looking at these Maine gem pages because my cousin up in northern Maine, you know, he's hooked on it, you know. And
Does he go rock hunting?
Yeah, no, he likes going to these mineral and gem shows and finding all about rocks and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Dude, like if you
Yeah,
start going in the algorithm on Facebook about like when they cut open everything, dude, it is crazy.
I know, I get the feeds. It's crazy. I love watching those wet thaw
Yeah.
cuts and what happens with the agates and stuff like that. Because, Addie, you know what else I collect besides sea glass?
What's that?
These beach stones and certain type of mineral stones that I'll find on a trail.
That's cool.
You know, because I know that they're out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's a place in the Maine Maritimes, Campobello Island, and you can get there, you know, driving to Lubec, you know, here. And Campobello Island has a black sand beach that's horseshoe shaped.
That's cool.
Beautiful. And the barometric pressure there is so weird. It's like it always feels heavy.
Really? You feel it?
Yeah, and there's a high surf. You get a lot of horseshoe crabs that wash up every year.
We have a
there.
ton of them in Delaware, and they're harvesting them now and sucking their blood out.
I think that's terrible.
Poor
their
things.
blood is used for you know, they use it for
Yeah,
a
they
lot of
test
perfumes and makeups
vaccines
and things
on
like
it.
that.
Family
Yeah.
members of mine are involved in all that weird horseshoe crab stuff in Delaware.
Yeah.
Or they were. I don't know. I'm talking at my butt now, but it's interesting.
That same beach, they have these. Here's some mermaid folklore for you. There's a stone that you can get on a beach, as long as it's all one color, and it has a ring of another color that goes completely around it and touches like a circle. Okay? That's called a wishing stone. Okay, so that beach there, in like a lot of beaches in Maine, but that one in particular has a lot of wishing stones on it, all different colors.
That's
red
cool.
rocks with black rings, multiple rings, so many rings. It just looks like somebody took a Sharpie
And
and
that's on an
scribbled
island
circles
too,
around the
right?
whole thing.
Because
Huh?
where I
Yeah,
lived,
it's on an island.
where I lived in Florida, there was an island that you could actually get like a little boat to. And it was called Seashell Island, and it was like you literally there was no sand on the beach; it's all seashells, and that's where everybody would go there and just like load up. But it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, folklore is each ring is a wish, and you put it by I always put them by all the windows. Like if you can walk around my house, you'll see a wishing stone on every windowsill because energy comes in. I want the wishes to go out to whoever needs it. You know, that's the way that that's the way that I view it. Or if somebody's using one of my restrooms, they'll sit down and go, Janice, why do you have mushrooms and rocks on your windowsill? And I'm like, touch a rock and make a wish, you know, things like that. But that particular beach in Lubet, they not only have, I mean, in Campobello Island in New Brunswick, they not only have wishing stones, but their stones have letters on them. You
That's
can find
cool.
the letter A, the E's, and things like that. So about 10 years ago, I read an article that it took this guy like 50-something years, some guy in England, to be able to collect alphabet stones that did the whole alphabet.
Wow.
So I started collecting them. So stone collecting is another thing I do besides the sea glass. I've got those big old cookie jars that you used to see at the private time. Those big glass holders.
See.
With the metal, with the round metal thing. I have like 5 of those full of different rocks. And really cool ones, all wishing stones and things like that. And I guarantee you if I sent you some of those,
rock right here.
Something.
So this is a piece of crystal quartz. This is where it was connected to the actual rock. You see that?
Nice.
So like I took a chisel and popped right off right there. So
look at that.
A pretty cool piece of wild quartz here. So this is just all natural. It's never been broken.
Too.
Yeah, that's where it was connected to the rock right there. That's where it grew out.
But I wonder
so you rip that off.
I wonder what that dark colored rock
Yeah, there's a lot of different minerals in here. I don't know enough about it to look into, but I have some with like black streaks going through it. It almost looks like iron, but it's pretty cool. Like this, I don't know. I have a bunch of these kind of things. Like if I see this, like just growing off of something, I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can wiggle that one loose. Sometimes they just come right off too. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of this in this one mountain I go to, and if you go to this mountain, right after it rains, all the quartz reveals itself because it's such a downhill. It's a bitch to hike up. But all the quartz reveals itself after the rain and the mudslide goes down the hill, and that's where all the ghost pipe likes growing too, because it's like a collecting spot. So
yeah, and you know that it's old.
It's pretty cool.
And you know that it's going to have water, because quartz usually is water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that area is going to have water. So that's going to give you topography, a little bit of geography, a little bit of history without you having to delve into public city records to find out more about that one. You know that there's water there someplace, or that there was at one point. Here in Maine, we have the glaciers that came through, which is what, Acadia National Park, you see all those big rock formations and stuff, and you can see where glaciers, the scratch marks as they went over them back in the Ice Age.
That's cool.
But Maine here, we have a unique tourmaline. It's called watermelon tourmaline. It's green and with shades of pink. But the green is always like on the bottom and stuff like that. And people, Maine tourmaline is pretty famous. People come from all over to have Maine tourmaline. And when I was a kid in Connecticut, there's a place near Bethlehem, Connecticut, Washington Depot, in that area, that is a garnet mine. And, the public used to be able to go up there all the time, and they were still mining garlic even 10 years ago. You know, people would be allowed to go on this private property, but then they had new owners and they fenced it off. Um, but there's a lot of mineral deposits here in Maine, you know, quartz
Yeah.
and stuff like that, you know, and
Yeah, there's a ton of
yes,
gold too in Pennsylvania, but you're not allowed to mine for gold out here. It's like illegal as hell. They allow you to do it at a couple state parks like once a year, and everybody gets to go out and pan gold. And
yeah.
so there's I don't know. I feel like I know where I would find some, but I've never tried. I don't want to get in trouble.
When Sarah got a piece of watermelon tourmaline, she said,
That's
"Yeah,
cool.
I got one too. I got a couple pieces of the tourmaline." But Sarah, it's still my dream to be out there foraging one day on these hiking mountains that I go to all the time, and be able to find raw tourmaline in its natural form. You know, watermelon tourmaline. I would love to see that. You know, and take a big chunk home and just keep it as a bookend. I think is what my goal is. But yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, there's
The
lots
rock,
of rock hunting to go around, dude, on the East Coast, man. Tons of rock hunting.
yeah. And it's like when you start foraging for plants and herbs and mushrooms out there, you start to get more in tune with nature,
Oh yeah.
more centered as to where you are, what you're doing. You pay attention. You're being hyper aware. Hopefully, you only have one earbud in, and you're listening to a podcast teaching you about mushrooms or listening to us or whatever. But you know, and you notice more. That's such a part of healing, especially if you work a hectic job, have a toxic relationship or whatever, and you can get out there on the trails either with someone, you know, that you enjoy spending time with, that you don't have to talk to too much, you know, and you start to notice more. It's that awakening that is the shift from Western pharma and feeling self-reliant, more secure about making choices for yourself by gauging your surroundings. It melds into healing in so many ways. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. It takes your mind off all that kind of crap. You know what I mean? It's
It kind of does.
not that it's crap, but like going out in nature can ground yourself very quickly. Very quickly, you're like, hold on a minute. I'm just
Yeah,
it's got to slow down. Maybe take a step back and chill.
yeah.
That's what it's
It,
good for.
it is. It is.
It's relaxing.
And
Even just 20 minutes, even just a 10, 15-minute walk. That's all you need.
yeah, your cortisol levels drop.
That's it.
You're less likely to have adipose tissue
I
storage,
think it's
which is
scientifically
bad.
proven now that if you go walking in nature for 30 minutes, it like reduces like a crazy amount of stress.
Yeah, it really does.
So,
I'm waiting for Meta or some tech head to come up with a translation device now for plants. Because now we know that plants have a frequency and a signal. There's
yeah.
even these little clips that you can clip on, you know, these little alligator clips, you know, that you clip onto a plant and to another one, and they have different tones, okay? We know they talk to each other, okay? There is going to come a time very soon, Addie, and hopefully before the end of my lifetime here, where we're going to be able to listen to nature.
Well, you can hook up mushrooms to this guy hooked it up to like some weird speaker, and they sounded incredible, just like you would imagine mushrooms sounding like just something out of outer
Yeah,
space. I
I
forget what he
know,
hooked
and
it up to,
I
but he hooked up these two little prongs, and something started make like this frequency like came out of his. I forget what it was. It's like a piano or something
listen.
he had. I have to
Yes,
find
I
it.
saw that.
I'd have to
I
find it. And then
saw.
every mushroom had and plant or object he like clipped it to just sounded like so wacky. And
Yeah, it sounds like that electric tone that's
yeah,
in
well,
that. In, Yeah, sounds like something from outer space. But they're going to be able to interpret that pretty soon
I
because
there's
we are
definitely
all.
there's definitely a connection. I mean, they know like plants and trees and whatnot. They can they can tell whether or not it's gonna rain. They can sense if it's too crowded, like not to grow. Like it's like
It
there's a
would be
huge battle
awesome,
going.
though.
There's a huge battle going on like underneath the soil that is just incredible. It sucks we can't see it, but if it was like see
I
through,
know.
if the dirt was like see through, and you wouldn't even look up at the trees. You'd be looking down, going, "Oh my god! Like look at that mess! How like." You'd be like,
The world's.
how does it
Listen,
all
the way
work? Why is it all connected like that?
you're going to see a lot of mycelial threads, is what you're
Ton.
going to see, because that literally is the world's first internet. Is
Yeah.
those mycelial threads, okay? Because they talk to plants, they talk to trees,
Yeah.
they talk to everything, okay? Even worms. Another reason why I can't stand earthworms. Nothing should come out of the earth that shiny and pretty, and nothing sticks to it. It's just the weirdest thing. It's so gross. But it would, for me, I don't like to walk barefoot on the ground. And, I know that there's a lot of people that are into grounding and things like that. Well, my family, everybody raised by hippies. Hello. I ran around barefoot. But as a learned person in this field, I also know that there's a lot of bacteria in that ground. There's Pseudomonas aeruginosa. That's like a really hard one, okay? And if I get that, I'm going to have a staph infection,
Yeah,
okay?
I don't barefoot
Things
too
like
often
that.
either. It's tough, man. Like I got soft feet because like I'll barefoot a little bit like when we're camping and stuff. And I know a couple people who barefoot hike. I'm like, dude, I can't do it,
No
man.
way.
It's brutal.
No
I think
way. No way.
Cody Lundin sparked that craze on Dual
Yeah.
Survivor. So
Yeah. No,
he went
I
barefoot for his
won't do
whole
it.
life.
I won't do it.
He's
But
got like
but
bear paws for feet. He's got pads, like big pads on his feet.
But if the ground were see through, and if everybody that loves walking barefoot could actually see all the microbes
Crazy
and
shit that's
the
about to get
mycelium,
him.
they would be reaching for their shoes just like I got mine on all the time. There wouldn't be any
I don't
more
know.
of
I'm
this
not against it.
grounding stuff.
I believe
Yeah,
grounding. I believe stuff like that, but to go
yeah.
and
I think whatever works for you works for you.
yeah,
Me, I grew up grounding, so it doesn't really work for me. I consider myself to be pretty fairly grounded. Look at
yeah.
me.
I feel like I gotta go
Look at what I
walking
do.
and hiking. I gotta go into and walking and hiking, get a little bit of energy out, and it helps.
It always does. That's always a big healer.
Especially when you
Because
don't want to do it. That's the sign you should go do it. When you're like, and then once you get there and you're like, all right, this is cool. Get you back.
yeah,
That's why you need to be grounded.
I know, no kidding. So listen, should we talk upon how we changed the name of the social media
Doesn't
page to
matter if we
Practical
want.
Foragers?
Yeah, because we're gonna probably wrap this up in the next like 10 minutes or so. But like I think our name change was something we were working on. We are trying to figure out like a good YouTube channel, something that was like gonna stick out. And then as our Facebook group grew, it just made sense to make everything the same. I don't know why we would
Yeah.
have two different things. And then the tinctures, mushrooms, how to. It was just like hard to say, so I thought like the practical foraging group would just be easier. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
practical
simple.
foragers. Yeah, for branding, so that if
Mhm.
anybody's looking for the
All the content's going to
Spotify,
be all in
yeah,
one. Janice and I are just
Spotify,
working as we
yeah,
go as well too. So like things develop naturally. We have a couple ghost pipe groups too. If anybody wants to join them, they're not really. We just created them at the same time as this group. Um, but I personally plan on adding to those groups once the season really starts. Right now, it's just we're just hanging out and organizing our just goals and ambitions and what we want to talk about, what we want to do. So The Facebook group's
Yeah.
kind of like our main. I would say this is like our main thing, and then we're working on other branches, if that makes any
Other
sense.
sis, other little babies that are going to be attached to it. But it just makes things easier because if you're looking for practical foragers, you'll find it Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. Everything matches. You're going to know that it's us because nobody
Yeah,
else has the name. We have it, and that's the way that
it'll just
goes.
be more
Um,
searchable, and then it's gonna be the same group. Like we're, I was talking to Janet, so she's like, "What do we do? We were talking about content and stuff." I'm like, "Dude, like, it's the middle of winter. Like, there isn't like much to forage. Like, when everything starts popping up, like, dude, we're gonna be out there like almost every day. I'll be out there. I work full time, but I'm gonna be at least 3 to 4 days a week foraging, small
Dude,
amounts.
I'm gonna be
So
out there for my regular
we're
five
gonna
or
be
10 mile hikes daily.
yeah, we're gonna be
So
filming and talking most likely from the field. So I'm trying to plan that out too. This is kind of like my home base setup. So expect some more content.
maybe we can find some trains along the way.
Yeah, last time I was before winter fully hit and I could hang out outside. A train blew by and interrupted us. That was fun.
Yeah, that was. But those are the kind of things that people are going to hear out in nature. I think this year what I wanna focus on too when I'm out hiking is the sounds in nature.
Yeah,
Red hawk, bobcat sounds,
yeah,
wolves, coyotes, things like that. Smells, things to focus on. Um, but the most important thing is being present when you're hiking so you can take it all in. But for me, I watched a video the other day where there was the cry of a bobcat. And Addie, I have heard that a million times if I've heard it once out in the
really?
woods. Yeah, you think it's like it's almost reminiscent of when a fox cries. You think it sounds like a woman crying.
Yeah, like it's
Okay.
somebody getting murdered in your
Yeah,
woods.
bobcats are very similar.
Really? They do that
Okay,
screaming
so
like ah.
yeah, and they're in short bursts.
Oh
The
man.
males will do it during mating season and stuff like that. So you could mistake that for a cry of a little kid that's heard out in the woods, and go run into it, and a bobcat will run away from you unless
Oh yeah.
it's protecting its young. Then that's a whole nother deal. But up here in Maine, we got Canadian lynx, and those are way bigger than
Yeah,
the regular
they're a little
bobcat.
broader, a little tougher.
Yeah, in French we have a saying like "gros pantoufles." It has big slippers,
Yeah.
meaning you can tell the difference between them if you don't know to look for the other characteristics by these big fluffy feet that they have. They're huge, big fluffy slippers. It looks like they're wearing big slippers. Um, but that's a cry I'm going to focus on even more because where I see the Canadian lynx a lot is also a place that I forage.
Yeah.
And
Something to take in.
yeah, I want to stay away from them. I really do. But big news this week in Maine, okay, and I posted this on my New England Rancher page for my clients. We've got 20% of the world's right whales right now in Maine. And it's not too far from where Sarah lives, okay? And Sarah, check it out. There's a whole bunch. There's like 75 or more right whales right now, at present, in Maine, in one area. And several of them have already been documented because in past years they had to be released from fishing gear. Okay? Here's the problem. We've got 20% of the global population of a protected species right now in Maine, and the area that they are in Maine is loaded with fishing gear right now. So I'm worried that first of all, I've only seen whales, whale pods like that size in Maui in December when they go back, to the warmer waters and things like that. I have never heard of them being this populated area, this many whales in cold water in the middle of January.
So like
That's
that's
global warming right there for you, yo.
yeah,
That's
they're
telling you how
saying they're
things are
saying
shifting.
like the great white sharks are going further north too.
Oh, they're up here.
And they
And
say they
here's the
spawn
thing
up there
about
now.
sharks.
They said they spawn up
Here's
there now, like further up norther, like north of you even. And
Yeah, because
it's a
here
big
we're
great white
finding great.
nursery.
Yeah, we're finding great whites in
Hmm.
fresh water. They will come into freshwater rivers. They can swim in either salt water or fresh water. Or brackish water, even better. That's how
I
they
know
get to
bull
our rivers
sharks
up
can.
here.
I know bull sharks can, but yeah, the great whites, the small ones, might be able to. Like they they just cruise around. Like they have a huge territory, and they just cruise around the coast of the East Coast, and then all the way up into Mexico and stuff. It's pretty cool how they just do that all year round.
Yeah, Sarah said she, you know, she saw one in Matinicus, which is an island here in Maine, which is very deep heritage with lobstermen there. Very deep. You just don't put your traps in the water there. You'll end up getting shot. That was a big case that happened a few years ago that I've talked about before. But Sarah, if you really want to see some whales and you want to see a bunch of those gray seals that look the size of pilot whales, by the way, just go to Lubeck. You don't have to buy passage on any boat or any sightseeing tour or anything. Bring your passport or cross over to Campobello, and you hear them. It's the most majestic thing I've ever heard, and I see them all the time there. Okay, and then I'll see a sightseeing ship go by, and I'm like, oh, you just wasted $50. All you have to do is sit on the beach and watch. Because I've been sea glassing there, in between my foraging, and you hear this, and you know it's not the waves crashing with the ebbs and flows. So I look up, and I'm like, holy shit, all you see is whale spouts blowing off air and playing and this and that. And so, yeah, Lubeck is like, Maine's hidden gem. It's very sparsely populated. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours from the nearest McDonald's. It takes me 3 hours to get there, 2.5, 3 hours. But it's a place where I unwind. It's one of my spots. And, they've got the most easterly brew pub there, Sarah, by the way. Lubeck Brewing. Go on in there, see him, tell him Jan Baby sent you. They're good friends of mine, the owners. They're a married couple, wonderful. She's from here. He was in the service. And, Gail and McGinty is who own that. And, they make some great beers there. And they also, if you catch them on a good day, you may get, fresh scallop pizza with fiddleheads on it, too, if it's in season. The stuff that they have there with Gail and McGinty had started there as a community area is just phenomenal. So I highly encourage everybody to go there. Plus, you can get your pint glass from there, too, and bring it home and get a growler. But, yeah, well, that's the topic. And, of course, the fires out in California and still the people in the Carolinas that are suffering and other places because of the hurricane.
Yeah, there's a lot of natural disasters, more than I remember in the past. I don't know if it's because we're just social media is more aware of things, but I just feel like it's like the fires are happening a lot. The hurricanes are worse, and they're further south it seems, and tornadoes too are real bad in weird areas now. So something's
Yeah, they're
happening.
getting crazy. They really
The
are.
weather is
But,
changing
yeah,
everywhere.
but listen, I'm gonna do a giveaway. Okay, I'm gonna do a giveaway this week only because I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you and for listening. And Sarah, I love that you're always there. I really do. So I always try to give Sarah some goodies, anyways. But I want to do a giveaway for a 2-pack of 2-ounce resheet, a resheet, and a turkey tail tincture. Okay? And what you'll need to do is you'll need to comment on this after we get done with the live cast here. We're going to post it to the social media, and go ahead and make a comment on it. Like and share it, and then we're gonna pick out some names, and we're gonna announce a winner the next podcast. Which, are we doing next Friday, Addie, or next Thursday?
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Probably we're leaning towards Thursdays might be better, just for everybody and including myself too, because we can go longer. We're trying to record longer, so Fridays seems like all the hustle and bustle of wanting to go out Friday night and like all this different things and me working, and it's like Thursdays I can really deep dive with Janice, and like I won't, we won't be as rushed. Sometimes we might be like, or at least me, like seem cool, calm, and collected, but like I'm like worrying about a bunch of stuff sometimes. So Thursdays we're gonna be able to record longer. So I think next Thursday might be the first time we do our Thursday night. I'm hoping.
Yeah, but
If
we'll
not
go
the
ahead and
following
we'll
one.
announce it, and we'll announce who gets the free tinctures then.
Yeah, we'll do
and
it
I'll
live.
ship it, and I'll PM the winner. I'll private message you to get your address if I don't already know you. If you're not already one of my clients, I'll get the address and I'll get that out to you, postage free, the whole 9 yards. Sarah said Thursday she can't make it.
Oh, no.
So that's it, Addie. We're doing it on Friday.
All right, Friday it is.
So listen, we'll do it next Friday, and it won't be as long. But we'll do the giveaway next Friday.
Yeah, let's keep next Friday the same, and then we'll do Thursday, because that's what I want to do too.
Yeah.
Glad we can solve that as a community. Friday is my birthday. Oh my god, that's perfect then. It'll be Sarah's birthday live part show.
Yeah, Friday's her birthday.
Awesome.
January
January birthday. There's a rare. My brother was born in January.
Look at that.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Sarah. Happy birthday.
Happy
really.
soon to be.
I hope the next trip around the sun is your best. I really do. But anyways.
But yeah, that's just like some small group news.
Up?
Yeah, some small group news. We're just Janice and I want to just tell everybody like we're working our little tails off to be more organized, and we have 165 members. So thank you for everyone joining and tuning in. These videos are always available for afterwards, so they're gonna stick around in our group in the events section. So hang out there for a while if you want. But yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks everybody else who joined in, and I hope we were able to help some people. Seems like we got good interaction.
I think so too. Yeah, definitely. I'm
gonna try and find some chaga. I haven't been hiking in 2 weeks, so maybe maybe this Wednesday I'll go out.
There you go.
Maybe I'll forage.
Get out there this week.
Maybe I'll forage live. See what I can what I can find.
Yeah. Everybody, be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself most of all. Take your mushrooms. Take your vitamins. Be healthy.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Peace out.